Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is David Benjamin from HealthyWildandFree.com. Today I want to talk about stuff. Now, we all have stuff, right? And the reason I want to talk about stuff today is because stuff plays somewhat of an important role in our lives, whether we realize it or not. We interact with stuff on a daily basis. We move stuff, we carry stuff, we live around stuff, we sell stuff, we buy stuff. Stuff is everywhere, essentially, so stuff is kind of an important part of life. And the reason I want to talk about stuff today is because there's a few errors in our clouded judgment in our mind that we see when we look at stuff. So we see stuff and we think, oh, cool, great, I want to have it, I want to get it, I want to own stuff, I want to have the best stuff, the brightest stuff, the flashiest stuff. And there's so much stuff consumption going on in the world right now, especially in America and other first world countries. People live their lives around and based upon acquiring stuff, and they think that's very, very important, and you may be one of those people. Now, the reason I want to talk about stuff and how it relates to health and really your mind and your body and your spirit and your overall wellness in general is because stuff is something that is somewhat of an extension of yourself, right? So the stuff you collect is an expression of who you are. It's an expression of what you believe. It's an expression of what you value. So the stuff that you own is a sort of a picture of what is important to you in life. A drug addict is going to have drugs or alcohol or anything that would fill them up with their own stuff. Someone who values education and progression and growth will have books and go to seminars and events and expos and things like that. Or someone who values entertainment will have the best TV and the best sound system and the best tickets to the sports teams games and things like that. What you value is represented by what you purchase. So the stuff that you own is nothing more than an expression of your beliefs, your thoughts, and how much you value yourself, essentially. So the first question I have for you in your life is to look around your life and look at the stuff that you own in the box that you live in, which we all live in a box, or most of us at least, live in a house, and the stuff we own is in that house. So look around your house, look around your residence, look around where you live, and look around where you work, and look at the stuff that you own, and what does that stuff say about you? How does the stuff you own value you, and how much do you value the stuff you own? It's very important to understand the relationship you have with the stuff that you own, because sometimes we can begin to value stuff outside of ourselves more than we value ourselves. And one of the most important lessons I've learned in my life thus far is to value yourself first and foremost over anything outside of yourself externally, whether it be stuff, even people, or things like that, because when you don't value yourself, you can't bring the best of you to a relationship, or to a partnership, or to work, or to your family, or friends, or whatever it may be. But stuff comes secondary. So one of the ways that media and corporations has finely crafted and attuned our minds to buying and acquiring more stuff is the progression of quantity of items that we own. So for example, as technology evolves and develops, new products and services come and introduce themselves to the market. And those products are opportunities for us to take our money that we worked for and acquire that stuff, that new product or that new television set or that new whatever it may be. And that stuff is something that we work for. So we essentially work for stuff. We work for the stuff that we own. Now, the relationship you have with stuff is very important, because when stuff becomes more important in your life than people, than yourself, and then your overall sense of well-being, that stuff has become a very strong force for bad or a source of negative energy in your life. Now, it's interesting in society too, we say, every once in a while, you say, oh, that person's stuffy. What does that really mean, right? Think about it, that person's stuffy. Well, I find it interesting because when someone has a lot of stuff, they tend to be more stuffy. Why is that? Well, if you have a lot of stuff, you have to manage and make sure everything is okay and safe and protected and running smoothly and properly and managing it and its functionality and et cetera, so on and so forth. If you have, 14 cell phones and 14 internet connections and 5,000 channels on cable, that's a lot of stuff to manage, right? And if you have all these different electronic gadgets and you have multiple homes and multiple cars, you've got to manage multiple oil changes, multiple tax payments, multiple, keeping up with properties, etc., so on and so forth. So you have to see that the more stuff you have in your life, over time will cause more stress and more headaches because it's more stuff that you have to manage. So one of the biggest lessons I learned in my life was back in 2012 when I moved from Michigan to Costa Rica. I moved there with nothing but a suitcase and a carry-on bag. I lived for almost 6 months with a suitcase and a carry-on bag, and those were some of the best months of my life, simply because I had nothing to worry about. I had no stuff, I had no car insurance, I had no car, I had no oil changes, I had no gas, I had no property, etc., paperwork, nothing. I had no stuff to deal with. My life was not very stuffy at all. It was very minimal and very liquid, and it allowed me to be free, live in the moment, live with ease, and just enjoy my life. Now, living in the States and living in a country like Costa Rica on the beach, there are very different environments and very different ways of living and areas of living. So what I learned from that when I came back to the States was, first of all, looking around, I have way too much stuff. A lot of stuff I have I don't even use, so I have to manage that, move it, clean it, take care of it, whatever, and I don't even use it. So what's the point of having that stuff? And one of the things you'll find is that when you kind of really understand advertising and marketing, and I come from a sales and marketing background, you understand that marketing uses both scarcity and abundance to channel you into spending more of your money to acquire more stuff. So they use scarcity when a new Apple product is released, for example. They say, oh, these are going to release in the stores at this time. There's only going to be so many, so you better be the first one in the store. People wait at the store line at Apple stores for hours just to get the new iPhone or the iPod or the iWatch or the whatever I may be next. I is here, not here, 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 or anywhere out here. So one of the things you have to understand is that the more stuff we acquire will cause more stress, more tension, and more just mind screwery. It'll screw with your mind because it's more you have to manage. And one of the things that's interesting, if you look back, right? If you look back in the 90s, for example, I remember when car phones came out, right? And my dad had a car phone because he had a sales job, and the car phone was like $300 a month, and he barely used it. And I remember thinking, wow, car phone, like no one has these. And I just remember it being the most amazing thing in the world. And now fast forward to 2014, and look at the world today. We have, practically everyone has a cell phone. Some people have 2 cell phones for God knows why. I don't know the reason behind that. And they look at, for example, televisions is another prime example. The flat screen television was introduced back in, when the television came out in the 70s or late 60s. The television, was this little box that families were lucky if they had one, right? Now you go into homes and there's a television in the living room, there's a television in each bedroom, there's a television in there's televisions in cars. I mean, it's ridiculous. We have a television on our phone now, essentially, because we can watch TV, movies, everything on our phone. So if you look at how much, right, the quantity of things that we've acquired as a society as a whole, I'm not talking about you individual, I'm just talking about the society as a whole over time. Look at how much we've acquired over time and how much that has grown. How many TVs does one person need? How many cars does one person need, right? How many cars does 2 or 3 people need? Can't 2 or 3 people share a car? Can't 2 or 3 people share one phone? I mean, it's quite ridiculous when you look at it, and you see kind of the trend that's happening in the consumption and the overconsumption of products that we're just buying up because media and marketing and advertising says we're inadequate if we don't have a cell phone, our own car, our own television, flat screen, etc., so on and so forth. iPhone, iPad, iMac, iWatch. I am sick of it. So one of the things I want everyone that's watching this video to understand is the less stuff you have, the happier you will be, I guarantee it, because you'll have less stuff to manage, your mind will be freer, you'll have more space in your minds to not worry about stuff around you, and life is easier, and you start to change your values. There's people that I know in my life personally, someone that is in my extended family, that actually isn't talking to one of my family members right now because of stuff. Because of 3 little items that cost about, I don't know, maybe 20 bucks each, so we're talking like 60 bucks total. those items were actually returned to that individual, and this individual will still not talk to my immediate family member because they're holding a grudge. Now, obviously, they're valuing stuff up here, and they're valuing people down here. And it's important that we see the value of people. We see the value of our planet. We see the value of humanity. We see the value of animals, our planet, and humanity. Those three things, right? All are up here and reside up here, and stuff is way down here. And one of the things I've learned too is that as I earn an income and a living, for me, buying stuff really isn't that important to me. It doesn't matter at all. I have stuff that I use and that I like, but it's not everything to me. And as I'm learning and growing and progressing in my own life, I pay less and less attention to the new product releases, the new technology, gadgets, whatever it may be, and I'm paying attention to investing into myself because I found that I am the best investment that I can possibly make. And when I invest into my health, into my diet, into natural products, whether it be skincare, supplements, food, just making everything in my life natural and resonate with who I am and what I believe and what I feel that I deserve and that I value in my life, that allows me to evolve and take my life and my health and my mind and my heart and my body and my spirit to another level that I wouldn't have been able to before because I was too focused on acquiring stuff, a nicer car, a nicer technology, gadgets, a nicer place of living, whatever it may be. All the stuff outside of you in life that money can buy is completely useless if you're not investing into yourself, your own health, and your own well-being. So I would encourage you today and challenge you and ask you this question. Are you valuing stuff outside of you in your life more than you are valuing yourself, your health, and your well-being, and your mind, body, and spirit? And are you spending money to improve yourself and your health and your life, or are you acquiring stuff outside of you that you think will fulfill, enrich, and bring you happiness, when really at the end of the day it leaves you stressed, tense, and angry? So just look at your own life and see how you can maybe change your priorities a little bit and value yourself, your family, your health, your well-being, and your internal side, what you're putting in and on your body, and what you're consuming, and the information that you're digesting, instead of polluting your mind with violence and negativity and drama and hate and racism, whatever the media's perpetuating. Stop focusing on that stuff and start focusing on the internal stuff that matters most, your mind, your body, your spirit, your health and well-being. And I promise you, that will give you a new path of value and focus and love and drive like you've never had in your life before. So take care of your stuff, aka yourself. And thanks a lot for watching this video. Once again, my name is David Benjamin from healthywildandfree.com. Make sure to follow the Facebook page, facebook.com/healthywildandfree. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube below. Like this video, leave your comments below. And make sure to subscribe to the Healthy, Wild, and Free podcast on iTunes, where I interview experts on the mind, body, spirit, health, and well-being. Below as well, that's in iTunes. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a great day. Bye.